I'm Teisha with Shalom TV's News Update. As you may have seen on IBA News, Israel's Air Force, in a targeted airstrike, assassinated Hamas military chief Ahmed Jabari on Wednesday. Jabari is responsible for many terror attacks against Israel, including the kidnapping of Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit. The Jabari assassination marked the beginning of the IDF's military response to the unrelenting rocket fire into southern Israel from Gaza, which has lasted over the last 5 days. The military operation is being called Pillar of Defense. The IDF spokesman said the first aim of this operation is to bring back quiet to southern Israel, and the second target is to strike at terror organizations. The IDF spokesman also said that Israel was prepared for a ground operation in Gaza if necessary. Shortly after the Jabari assassination, Israel's Air Force took out more than 20 underground rocket launchers belonging to Hamas and Islamic Jihad in Gaza. The action targeted long-range rockets that are capable of reaching Tel Aviv. The IDF noted that most of the weapons storage sites were located in civilian residential buildings, saying this is further evidence of the pattern of Hamas to use the population in Gaza as human shields. Some of the rockets were stored near kindergartens and mosques, the IDF said, adding that they were doing their utmost to make precision strikes. IDF Brigadier General Yoav Mordechai told Israel's Channel 2 after the Jabari hit that the country must be prepared for a possibly extended period of fighting, saying the home front must brace itself resiliently. Israel police Wednesday raised the alert level for the entire country following the assassination, and Israel's Defense Minister Ehud Barak authorized the call-up of Army reservists. Hamas responded to the Jabari hit, saying the occupation has opened the gates of hell on itself and warned of, quote, suicide attacks and quality attacks in Israeli cities. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas condemned the military operation as well and called for an emergency session of the Arab League to discuss the, quote, Israeli aggression against Gaza. The United Nations called for a de-escalation of violence, saying both sides had to ensure the protection of their civilian populations. Ynet reports that the father of former captive IDF soldier Gilad Shalit commented on the Jabari assassination. Jabari again was personally oversaw the kidnapping and imprisonment of Gilad. Noam Shalit said this is not something personal, even though Jabari has caused much suffering to both Gilad and his family. This is a man with blood on his hands, he said, who has over the years targeted innocent civilians. The Jerusalem Post reports that Israel's President Shimon Peres called President Barack Obama after the Jabari assassination to tell him about the hit. During the conversation, Peres reportedly explained Jabari's history and that he had, quote, blood on his hands. According to Ynet, Peres also told Obama that Israel has no interest fanning the flames, but for the last 5 days we have been bombarded by rockets. There is only so much we can take. And the rocket attacks on Israel continue. There are reports of at least 19 more rockets having been fired into southern Israel from Gaza on Wednesday following the Jabari assassination, most of which did not cause damage or injuries. However, one rocket reportedly hit a shopping center in Beersheba. Another 15 rockets were reportedly intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome rocket defense system. The United States and Israel on Tuesday concluded a 3-week-long joint military exercise in Israel called Austere Challenge 2012. It was the largest ever joint military exercise held by the two countries, involving more than 2,500 American military personnel and 1,000 Israeli soldiers. U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General Craig Franklin, one of the leaders of the exercise, said, "We made great strides in improving our tactics and our command and control processes. Most importantly, though," he said, "we reinforced our already strong U.S.-IDF relationships. From our most senior commanders to most junior enlisted troops, we proved once again that there is clearly no substitute for training side by side with our Israeli partners." And finally, today, the Jewish Council for Public Affairs is joining with Catholic Charities USA, the National Council of Churches, and 50 other faith organizations for the 5th annual Fighting Poverty with Faith mobilization, which runs through November the 18th. This year, the efforts are focusing on the lack of affordable housing in the United States, and the groups are asking the community to reach out to their members of Congress so that they will fund the National Housing Trust Fund to create sources of funding helping to build and rehabilitate housing for low-income people. And that's Shalom TV's News Update. I'm Teisha Bader.